Well, greetings, everybody. Again, here we are, gathered in the atmosphere with our reading of Mahabharata, the greatest epic in the whole wide world by Krishna Dvaipayana Vedavyasa. So, as you know, if you've been following, we're past the halfway mark in this great work, and we're now on the Karna Vardha Parva, which we have been on for quite a while now. It's long, and it all leads up to the death of Karna and his encounter with Arjuna. So we're about to conclude this portion. So I hope everybody enjoys reading and hearing. So before I begin, I'll say a Mangala Charana. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padatamilam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitanscha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, chapter 1216 of the Mahabharata, chapter 66 of Karanavadha Parva. Sanjaya said, they fled because of that descent of arrows. The soldiers of the Kurus were routed. However, they waited at a distance and glanced back, gazing at Dhananjaya's weapons, which were descending like lightning in all directions. In that great battle, the angry Partha quickly unleashed a weapon to slay Karna. However, while Arjuna's weapon was still traveling and roaring through the air, the brave one destroyed it with a great weapon that he had obtained from Artavan Rama. Footnote, Parashurama. Artavan can simply be interpreted as wise. Alternatively, the Artavan lineage was often mentioned in conjunction with the Brigu lineage from which Parashurama was descended. End of footnote. And which was capable of destroying enemies. Having destroyed Arjuna's weapon, he struck Partha with innumerable sharp arrows. O king, the clash between Arjuna and Adhirata's son assumed a great and dreadful form. They struck each other with arrows like two fierce elephants goring each other with their tusks. Karna fixed an extremely sharp and flaming arrow that was capable of slaying the enemy. This had a serpent in its mouth. Footnote. This was the serpent Ashwasena desiring to take revenge on Arjuna. End of footnote. That terrible arrow had been carefully preserved and washed well, protected well for Partha's destruction. It had been worshipped and laid down on a bed of sandalwood paste. That immensely virulent weapon was lying down in a golden quiver. It was generated from the lineage of Airavata. Footnote. This means the serpent Airavata from whom Ashwasena was descended. End of footnote. And flamed, wishing to kill Palguna in the battle, he aimed at his head. On seeing that Vaikartana had affixed that arrow, the great-souled king of Madra said, O Karna, this arrow will not be able to reach his neck. Fix an aim on another arrow that can sever his head. With eyes that were red with rage, Karna affixed that arrow and told Shalya, "Oh, Shalya, Karna will not affix a second arrow. Someone like me does not engage in deceit." Having said this, he released that arrow, the serpent which he had worshipped for many years. He said, "Oh, Palguna, you have been slain," and swiftly shot the arrow. On seeing that Karna had affixed the serpent, Madhava, supreme among strong ones, used his strength to press down on the chariot with his feet. The chariot sank down on the ground, and the horses sank down on their knees. The arrow struck down the intelligent one's diadem. The ornament that adorned Arjuna's head was famous throughout the earth, heaven, and the waters. In his anger and through the strength of his weapon, the son of Asuta used the arrow to bring it down from his head. It possessed the flaming radiance of the sun, the moon, and the planets. This is the diadem, his crown. It was decorated with nets of gold, pearls, and gems. Using his austerities and efforts, this had been crafted for Purandara by the earth's son himself. Footnote. There is a typo here that is difficult to unravel. The crown was given by Purandara Indra to Arjuna. It had been constructed by Brahma, the earth's creator. Therefore, the text should probably read the earth's creator and not the earth's son. However, this is more than a simple typo. End of footnote. It was extremely expensive in form and generated terror among the enemy. It was fragrant and brought happiness to the one who wore it. When he killed the enemies of the gods, footnote described in section, the Lord of the gods was delighted and gave it to Kiriti. It could not be destroyed by Hara, the Lord of the waters, or the protector of riches, and by the Pinaka, Pasha, or Vajra, and the best of arrows. The supreme gods were incapable of withstanding it. However, using the serpent, Vrisha now destroyed it. The flame of the poison uprooted it from the head and brought the beloved crown with flaming rays down on the ground. Partha's diadem, supreme diadem, fell down like the blazing sun setting over Mount Asta. The crown was decorated with many gems. The serpent forcefully tore it down from Arjuna's head. It was as if an excellent mountain top with shoots and blossoming trees was struck down by great Indra's Vajra. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, the earth, the sky, heaven, and the waters seemed to be whirled around by a tempest. Such a noise arose on earth then. Though they tried to control themselves, people were distressed and trembled. But Arjuna was not distressed. He tied the hair on his head with a white garment. The serpent released from Karna's arms was extremely radiant, like the rays of the sun. The giant serpent was firm in its enmity to Arjuna. It struck the diadem and fell down. It told him, "Know who I am. I am firm in my enmity of the two Krishnas because they slew my mother." Footnote. The critical edition excises some shlokas. In those, Asrasena returns and asks Karna to shoot the arrow again. More specifically, the first time Karna shot the arrow without looking at Asrasena, and that was the reason it failed. Asrasena asks him to shoot the arrow a second time after taking a look at him. However, Karna refuses to use the same arrow a second time. In the battle, Krishna then spoke to Partha. The giant serpent is firm in its enmity. Slay it. Having been thus addressed by Madhusudana, the wielder of Gandiva, fierce in using the bow and arrow against enemies, asked, "Who is the serpent who is advancing against me of his own accord, as if into Garuda's gaping mouth?" Krishna replied, "In Khandava, you satisfied the blazing one, Agni, with the bow in your hand. You killed his mother, taking her to be a single snake. However, though her body was destroyed by the arrows, he was in the sky, covered by her. The serpent was falling down from the sky. Jishnu severed the serpent with his 6 sharp arrows. Mangled in its body, it fell down on the ground. At that time, Karna, foremost among brave men, glanced sideways at Dhananjaya and pierced him with 10 arrows that had been sharpened on stone and were tufted with the feathers of peacocks. Arjuna drew his bow all the way back up to his ears and struck him with 12 sharp arrows. Those iron arrows were like venomous serpents in their force. He drew his bow all the way back up to his ears and shot them. They were released well. They shattered his supreme and colorful armor as if they were robbing him of his life. Having drunk Karna's blood, they penetrated the ground with the tufts smeared with blood. Vrisha became extremely angry at being struck by the arrows like a giant serpent that has been beaten with a staff. He swiftly shot supreme arrows that were like giant serpents with excellent poison. He struck Janardana with 12 arrows and Arjuna with 99. Karna again pierced Pandava with terrible arrows and roared loudly. Pandava could not tolerate this joy. He was like Indra in his valor. He shot supreme arrows like Indra, energetically striking Bala. Arjuna shot 90 arrows at Karna, and each of them was like Yama's staff. Those arrows severely mangled his body like a mountain shattered by thunder. The crown on his head was decorated with gems and diamonds, and he wore excellent earrings. These were severed by Dhananjaya's arrows and fell down. His radiant and excellent armor was carefully crafted by the best of craftsmen over a long period of time. It was extremely expensive. In an instant, Pandava shattered this into many fragments with his arrows. Having deprived him of his armor with those excellent arrows, he then angrily struck him with 4 arrows. Distressed and struck by his enemy, he was like a diseased person suffering from bile, phlegm, and wind and wounds. Arjuna spiritedly shot sharp arrows from the great circle of his bow. He made great efforts and struck with strength. Karna was struck by many supreme arrows, and they penetrated his inner organs. Karna was struck by many of Partha's sharp arrows. He was severely wounded by those arrows that were fierce and forceful. He looked as beautiful as a mountain with red chalk, from which streams of red water were flowing down on the slopes. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, Kiriti struck Karna and his horses and his chariot with Vatsadanta arrows. Making every effort, he used gold tufted arrows to envelop the directions. When he was struck in his broad chest by those Vatsadanta arrows, Adhirata's son looked resplendent. He looked like a blossoming Ashoka, Palasha, or Shalmali tree, or like a trembling mountain with many sandalwood trees. O Lord of the earth, with those many arrows stuck to his body, Karna looked beautiful in the battle. He looked like a valley in the mountain, covered with many large trees, or like a giant mountain with sparkling Karnikara trees. Karna also shot a large number of arrows from his bow. With those nets of arrows as rays, he looked dazzling. He was like the sun advancing towards sunset, red and with a crimson solar disk. Those arrows were released from the arms of Adhirata's son and blazed like giant serpents in the sky. In all the directions they clashed with the sharp and fierce arrows released from Arjuna's arms and destroyed them. At that time the earth trembled and the son of Asuta became confused in the battle. Because of the Brahmana's curse, the chariot was whirled around in the encounter. Because of Rama's curse, the weapons no longer manifested themselves. Unable to tolerate this, he whirled his garments and his arms around and lamented. Those who know about Dharma have always held that Dharma protects those who place Dharma at the forefront. But instead of protecting one who is devoted, it is now bringing me down. I think that Dharma does not always protect. While he was speaking in this way, his horses and chariot were dislodged, and he began to waver because of the downpour of Arjuna's weapons. He was struck in his inner organs and was unable of acting. He repeatedly censured Dharma. In the battle, having been struck by 3 fierce arrows in the arm, Karna then pierced Partha with 7. Arjuna struck him back with 17 straight flying and energetic arrows. They were as terrible as Indra's Vajra and like the fire to the touch. They pierced him with great force and then fell down on the surface of the earth. Karna trembled. However, he exhibited great capacity. Using his strength, he invoked Brahmastra. On seeing this, Arjuna invoked mantras and released Aindrastra. Dhananjaya also invoked mantras on the bowstring of Gandiva and the arrows. He released showers of arrows like Purandara pouring down rain. Those energetic arrows issued from the immensely valorous Partha's chariot and were about to destroy Karna's chariot. However, when they arrived in front of him, Maharata Karna repulsed all of them. When that weapon was destroyed, the brave one from the Vrishni lineage said, O Partha, Radheya is destroying your arrows. Release supreme weapons. Using mantras, Arjuna released Brahmastra. With those radiant arrows, Arjuna shrouded Karna. But Karna used extremely energetic arrows to angrily sever his bowstring. Fixing another bowstring, Pandava enveloped Karna with thousands of fiery arrows. In that battle, when Karna severed his bowstring, he fixed another one so quickly that no one could make this out. It was wonderful. Using his weapons, Radheya countered all of Savyasati's weapons. At that time, his valor seemed to be greater than that of Partha. Krishna saw that Arjuna was afflicted because of Karna's weapons. He said, "O Partha, go closer and strike him with the best weapons." Dhananjaya invoked an arrow with divine mantras. It was like a fire and the poison of a serpent. It was made completely out of iron. Kiriti united this with Raudrastra and wished to shoot it. But in that great battle, the earth swallowed up one of the wheels of Radha's chariot. Radha wept in rage. He told Arjuna, "Oh, Pandava, wait for an instant. You can see that because of destiny, my central wheel has got submerged. O Partha, abandon the thought that only befits a coward. O Arjuna, one should not shoot a weapon at one with disheveled hair, at one who doesn't wish to fight, at a Brahmina, at someone who has joined his hands in salutation, at one who has sought refuge, at one who has cast aside his weapons, at someone who faces a calamity, at someone who doesn't have arrows, at a person whose armor has been destroyed, or at a person whose weapons have been shattered and broken. Brave ones, do not strike at such people, nor do kings and lords of the earth. O Kaunteya, you are brave. Wait for a short while. O Dhananjaya, let me extricate the wheel from the ground. You are stationed on your chariot. You should not kill me when I am on the ground. O Pandavaya, you and Vasudeva are not frightened of me. You are a Kshatriya and you are the extender of a great lineage. O Pandava, remember the instructions of Dharma. Remember the instructions of Dharma and wait for a short while. I yield. No, it's very good.
Oh God, I wasn't on mute. Anyway, that was fantastic. Looking
Yeah.
forward to carry on. It's just all incredible. Carry on.
Let's go. Carry on. Chapter 12-17, part 67.
You could maybe read 2 chapters. I just checked. It's not a very long one, this.
Yeah, so then I saw actually, funnily enough, I'd also looked ahead today for some odd reason.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's
So
like 10, 10
you read up to chapter 1219, and I'll
is
carry on
that
from
then
there.
total.
So do two
So
two
that's, yeah, that's
chapters.
okay.
Go for it.
Wow. Sanjaya said, Vasudeva was stationed on his chariot. He said, O Radheya, it is fortunate that you remember Dharma. Quite often, when they are immersed in hardships, inferior ones sense your destiny, but not their evil deeds. O Karna, when you, Suyoddhana, Dushasana, and Shakuni Sobala brought Draupadi to the assembly hall in a single garment, did Dharma not show itself to you? When, in the assembly hall, Yudhishthira, who was not skilled at dice, where did Dharma go then, O Karna? During her season, Krishna was under Dushasana's subjugation in the assembly hall, and you laughed at her. Where did Dharma go then, O Karna? Resorting to the king of Kandara and coveting the kingdom, you challenged the Pandavas. Where did Dharma go then? When Vasudeva addressed Radha in this way, Pandava Dhananjaya remembered all this and was overcome by great rage. Energetic flames of anger seemed to issue out from all the pores on his body, and it was extraordinary. On seeing this, Karna again invoked Brahmastra against Dhananjaya. He showered down arrows and tried to extricate his chariot. Pandava countered those weapons with his own weapons. Kaunteya then released another weapon, beloved of the fire god, towards Karna. It blazed fiercely. Karna pacified the fire through a Varuna weapon. He covered all the directions with clouds, and it was as dark as a rainy day. Pandavaya was not frightened. While Radheya looked on, the valiant one used the Vayavya weapon and dispelled all the clouds. The Supreme One's standard had the marks of an elephant's housing. It was decorated with gold, pearls, jewels, and diamonds. It had been crafted by excellent artisans over a long period of time. It was expensive, beautiful in form. It always inspired your soldiers and terrified and frightened the enemy. It was renowned in the world and blazed like the sun and the moon. Kiriti used a razor-sharp arrow that was gold-tufted and pointed. With that, he brought down the handsome and blazing standard of the great-souled Mahabharata, Adilata's son. O venerable one, when that standard was uprooted, fame, dharma, victory, and everything that was dear to the hearts of the Kurus also fell down. Great sounds of lamentation arose. To ensure Karna's death, Pandava took out an Anjalika arrow. It was like the great Indra's Vajra, or like a rod that was made out of fire. It blazed in its rays, like the one with 10,000 rays. Thus reference to the sun. It was capable of penetrating the inner organs and smearing itself with blood and flesh. It was extremely expensive and was like the fire and the sun. It could destroy men, horses, and elephants, and was 3 cubits long with 6 tufts. It travelled straight and possessed a great force. In its energy, it was like the Vajra of the one with 1,000 eyes. It was as difficult to withstand as predatory beasts. It was like the Pinaka and Narayana's chakra. It was fearful and destructive of living beings. He invoked mantras and affixed that supreme and great weapon to Gandiva. He loudly said, I am grasping this great weapon, which is in the form of an arrow. It is extremely difficult to withstand and is capable of destroying the body. If I have tormented myself through austerities and have satisfied my seniors, if I have listened to what my well-wishers have told me, through that truth, let this arrow slay my armored enemy, Karna, and bring me victory. Having said this, for the sake of Karna's death, Dhananjaya released that terrible arrow. It was as fierce as rites performed by Atharvan and Angiras. It blazed and was impossible to be endured in a battle, even by death itself. Kiriti cheerfully said, Let this arrow bring me victory. Wishing to slay Karna, bring about his end and convey him to Yama. He released the arrow, which was as radiant as the sun and the moon. Cheerfully, so that he could be conveyed towards victory, the one with the diadem and the garland shot the arrow. It was as radiant as the sun and the moon. He harbored feelings of enmity and wished to slay his enemy. That weapon, blazing like the sun, was shot. Like the sun, it lit up the earth with its radiance. The head of the commander of the army was severed. Like the sun, with a red disk, it seemed to set. The body of the one who performed generous deeds was always reared in happiness. Like a person who is reluctant to leave a house filled with great riches, the head parted from the body with great difficulty. Without the armor, the body was mangled by arrows and lost its life. Karna's body was severed and fell down. Blood oozed from the wounds, like red chalk flowing from the slopes of a mountain when the summit has been struck by thunder. When Karna's body fell down, a flaming mass of energy arose and rose up into the sky. O king, when Karna was slain, all the men and warriors witnessed this great wonder. On seeing that he had been slain and was lying down, with their soldiers, the Somakas roared in delight. They joyfully blew on their trumpets and waved their garments and hands around. They embraced each other, roaring in delight. They saw that Karna had been destroyed and was lying down on the ground. The Rata had been slain and mangled by the arrows. It was as if the untainted and extinguished fire was lying down in the expansive sky after the end of sacrifice. All his limbs were mangled by by arrows and torrents of blood flowed from them. Karna's body was beautiful like the rays of the sun in the firmament. He had tormented the soldiers of the enemy with flaming arrows that were like the sun's rays. The powerful Karna was like the setting sun, conveyed to death by Arjuna. When the sun sets, all its radiance also departs. Like that, the arrow took away Karna's life. O Venerable One, it was the late part of the afternoon then. Severed by the Angelika in the battle, the head and the body of the son of Asuta fell down. While the soldiers of the enemy looked on, it swiftly severed Karna's head and body. The brave Karna fell down on the ground, mangled by arrows. Blood flowed from his body. On seeing that he was lying down on the ground, and seeing that the standard had been severed, the king of Madra withdrew on the chariot. When Karna was slain, the Kurus fled. They were severely struck in the battle and were afflicted with fear. They repeatedly glanced at Arjuna's great standard, blazing in form. He had performed deeds like those of the one with 1,000 eyes. His face was as beautiful as one with 1,000 petals. He was like the one with 1,000 rays at the end of the day. Thus did his head fall down on the ground. So,
Wow.
yeah. Who was that talking about that last part? Arjuna or Karna? Did you get that? I thought
He's
it was
it's being
Arjuna.
no, it's being described.
Yeah, I know, but just that last few couple of sentences I read.
Go back a bit and you'll catch. I think he's talking about Karna, but
Okay.
got a bit confused. Go back a bit.
When Karna was slain, the Kurus fled. They were severely struck in the battle and were afflicted with fear. They repeatedly glanced at Arjuna's standard blazing in form, and then Karna. All right. All right. Okay, so yeah, I get it. It's in the footnote. Cool. Next chapter then. Pretty mad, huh?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
It's great that it's your go.
Yeah.
It's quite sad as well, isn't it?
It's
Yeah,
everything.
it's every yeah.
It's very sad, and
Anyway, sorry.
it's Dharma. That's what Krishna. It's like it's this mixed bag of fortunes, isn't it?
Mm,
That life is.
yeah.
Anyway, we'll do commentaries afterwards.
Yes, we should. Okay, chapter 12, 18, part 68. So just describing Karna's. I'll read that last one from the last chapter again. So the Kurus repeatedly glanced at Arjuna's great standard blazing in form. Karna, had performed deeds like those of the one with 1,000 eyes. His face was as beautiful as one with 1,000 petals. He was like the one with 1,000 rays at the end of the day. Thus did his head fall down on the ground. Chapter 12, 18, part 68, Sanjaya said, in the course of the encounter between Karna and Arjuna, the soldiers had been mangled with arrows, O descendant of the Bharata lineage. On seeing this, Shalya went to Duryodhana, who was glancing at the field of battle. Duryodhana saw that his army, with its chariots, horses, and elephants, had been destroyed, and the son of Asuta had been killed. His eyes filled with tears, and in great distress he sighed repeatedly. The brave Karna had fallen down on the ground. His body had been mangled by arrows, and blood flowed from it. It was as if the sun had fallen down from the sky. To see this, everyone came there and surrounded the body. There were those who belonged to your side and others who belonged to the enemy. Some were cheerful, others were frightened, some were distressed, others were amazed. There were others who were completely overcome by grief. According to their natural traits, they looked towards each other. Karna had possessed armor, ornaments, garments, and weapons. On seeing that he had been brought down by Dhananjaya and deprived of his energy, the Kurus fled. They were like a distressed herd of cattle when the bull has been killed. by slaying Karna like an elephant by a lion. Arjuna had struck them severely. On seeing that he was lying down on the ground, the king of Madra was terrified. He swiftly withdrew on his chariot. The lord of Madra was stupefied. He quickly departed on the chariot that was without a standard. He swiftly went to Duryodhana's side and spoke these sorrowful words. The elephants, horses, and best of rathas in your army have been destroyed. It looks like Yama's kingdom. The large armies with men, horses, and elephants that are like mountain tops have clashed against each other and have been killed. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, there has never been a battle like that fought between Karna and Arjuna today. Karna clashed against the two Krishnas and others who are your enemies, and has been devoured. Destiny flows according to its own rules. That is the reason it is protecting the Pandavas and weakening us. All the brave ones sought to accomplish your objectives. They have been slain by the enemy. Those brave ones were the equals of Kubera, Vaivasvata, and the Lord of the Waters in power. They possessed valor, bravery, and strength. They possessed large stores of qualities. Those lords of men were unslayable. They sought to accomplish your objectives, fought against the Pandavas, and have been slain. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, do not grieve. This is destiny. There is no substitute for success. However, success cannot always be obtained. Hearing the words of the Lord of Madra, Duryodhana was miserable in his mind. He thought of his own evil deeds and looked within his heart. He was bereft of his senses. In great grief, he repeatedly sighed. He reflected and was silent. He was extremely distressed. Artayani, another name for Shalya, spoke these words to him. O brave one, behold this fierce field of battle. 'Tis strewn around with slain men, horses, and elephants. Giant elephants have fallen down like giant mountains. They have been sliced down. Their inner organs have been pierced with arrows. They are unconscious and anxious. Some have lost their lives. The warriors have dislodged their body armor and their weapons. They are like fragmented mountains, with rocks, animals, trees, and herbs, which have been shattered by Indra's Vajra. The bells, goads, javelins, and standards have been destroyed. They possessed golden harnesses, which are streaming with copious quantities of blood. Mangled by arrows, horses have fallen down. Some of them are finding it difficult to breathe and are vomiting blood. Some are shrieking loudly with dilated eyes. Some are biting the ground with their teeth and neighing in distress. Warriors on horses and elephants have been struck. Some have a little bit of life left and others have lost their lives. Men, horses, elephants, and chariots have been crushed. Like the great Vaitarani, the earth is difficult to behold. Elephants have had their trunks severed by the enemy. They are shrieking, trembling, and falling down on the ground. There were illustrious elephants, chariots, horses, warriors, and foot soldiers. Advancing against the enemy, they have been slain. Armor, ornaments, garments, and weapons are strewn around. It is as if the earth is covered with many fires that have been extinguished. One can see that the mighty armies have been struck by the force of the arrows, and the soldiers have fallen down in thousands. They have lost their senses and are trying to regain their breath again. The earth is beautiful, as if with fires that have been extinguished. Flaming and sparkling planets seem to have fallen down from the sky. The arrows released from the arms of Karna and Arjuna have shattered the bodies of elephants, horses, and men. The weapons have quickly deprived them of their lives and have entered the ground, like giant serpents looking for an abode. In the battle, men, horses, and elephants have been killed. Chariots have been shattered by the arrows. The earth has become impassable because of the bodies of elephants that have been killed by the arrows of Dhananjaya and Datirata's son. The best of Ratas and warriors have been uprooted by the arrows. Chariots, horses, the best of weapons and standards are strewn around. 'Tis impassable because of shattered and destroyed weapons. Wheels, axles, yokes, and trivinis have been shattered. Chariots are without charioteers who have been killed. It is impassable because some are without yokes, while others have had their yokes broken. The seats were decorated with gold and jewels and have been shattered. They are strewn around on the ground like clouds in the autumn sky. The swift and ornamented horses were yoked to excellent chariots, and with riders slain are dragging them around. Large numbers of men, elephants, chariots, and horses are seen to speedily run away. They have been routed in many ways. Clubs tied in golden cloth, battle axes, swords, bludgeons, spears, sparkling and unsheathed scimitars and maces tied up in golden pieces of cloth have fallen down. There are bows, golden armlets, ornaments, arrows with wonderful tufts made out of gold, yellow, spotless swords that have been unsheathed, javelins and scimitars with golden complexions. There are umbrellas, fans, whisks, conch shells, and garlands of flowers embellished with gold. There are housings, flags, and garments. There are radiant crowns, garlands, and diadems. The housings are scattered and strewn around. There are necklaces decorated with pearls from the waters. There are guards, armlets, and excellent bracelets. There are golden collars and golden threads for the necks. There are the best of gems, diamonds, gold, pearls, and other jewels. There are auspicious signs, good, not that good, on the bodies which have been reared in great happiness. The faces on the heads are like the full moon. The bodies have given up pleasure and garments, objects desired by the heart and happiness. They have resorted to their own dharma and obtained great merits. They have ascended to the worlds that bring fame. Shalya spoke these words to Duryodhana and stopped. His mind was overcome with great grief, as Duryodhana's mind. Bereft of his senses, he lamented, "Alas, Karna, alas, Karna." His eyes overflowed with tears. All the kings, with Drona's son at the forefront, comforted him and departed. They repeatedly glanced at Arjuna's great standard, which seemed to be blazing because of his glory. The bodies of men, horses, and elephants were covered with blood. The earth was covered with blood. It looked like a woman attired in crimson and golden garments and garlands who would go to everyone. Footnote, meaning that the woman was a courtesan. End of footnote. O king! Their terrible forms were covered with blood and could not be recognized. The Kurus were unable to look at all those who had departed for the world of the gods and could not stand there. Because Karna had been slain, they were extremely miserable. They lamented, "Alas, Karna! Alas, Karna!" On seeing that the sun had assumed a reddish tinge, they rapidly left for their camps. Gold tufted and sharp arrows were released from Gandiva. Their tufts were smeared with blood. Still, it's Sanjay speaking. No, I believe. Anyway. Though slain, he looked like the sun. Karna's body was covered with blood. It was as if the illustrious sun was showing compassion towards its devotee, and having touched the crimson form with its red hand, was proceeding beyond the ocean to have a bath. That is what the large numbers of gods and rishis thought. They returned to their respective abodes. The other beings also thought in the same way and left as they wished to heaven or on earth. The foremost of brave ones among the Kurus had witnessed the terrible encounter between Dhananjaya and Adhirata's son, destructive of their lives. They were amazed. Now that it was over, they praised it and departed. The brave one's armor had been shattered by arrows. He had been slain in the battle. Radheya had lost his life, but his beauty did not desert him. O king, he was adorned in many ornaments, and his armlets were made out of gold. Vaikartana had been slain and was lying down like a tree with branches and sprouts. He had the complexion of pure gold and blazed like a fire. With his son, Tiger among men was pacified by Partha's energy. O king, with his weapons and energy, he scorched the Pandavas and the Panchalas. Whenever he was asked to give, he always did and never said that he had nothing to give. The virtuous always regarded him as righteous. This Vrisha was killed in a duel. Great-souled one gave everything that he possessed to Brahmanas. There was nothing, not even his own life, which he would not give away to Brahmanas. He was always loved by men. He was generous. He loved giving. He went to heaven. He took away with him the hopes your sons cherished for victory and their comfort and armor. When Karna was killed, the rivers stopped flowing. The sun was tainted and set. The blazing planets coursed in a diagonal direction. O king, Yama's son arose. Mm. I don't know if I should read that footnote. It says this must be a typo. Yama has no recorded son. It should probably read Soma rather than Yama, as it does in some non-critical versions. Soma, the moon, Soma's son is Buddha with one D, Mercury. So Mercury arose. Yama can also be interpreted as twin, but one doesn't know what to make of the son of twins. Finally, Yama is a name for Pluto, but no Pluto was known then, and Pluto's son makes no sense. End of footnote. Some people might find that interesting. So, the sky seemed to divide into two parts. Getting a bit dark. Almost at the end of this chapter. The earth seemed to shriek. Extremely harsh and forceful winds began to blow. The directions seemed to blaze fiercely with a lot of smoke. The giant oceans were agitated and roared loudly. O venerable one, the groves, mountains, and large numbers of things were distressed and trembled. Brihaspati afflicted Rohini, and assumed the complexion of the moon and the sun. I read the footnote. Brihaspati is Jupiter and Rohini is the fourth of the 27 nakshatras, known in English as Aldebaran. End of footnote. So, when Karna was killed, the directions were covered in darkness and could not be distinguished. The firmament and the earth seemed to move. Flaming meteors showered down. Those who travelled during the night were seen to be delighted. Those at footnote meaning demons. Karna's head was as beautiful as the full moon, and Arjuna brought it down with a razor-sharp arrow. Loud sounds of lamentation were heard among beings in heaven, in the sky, and on the ground. In the battle, Arjuna killed his enemy, Karna, who was revered by the gods, the Gandharvas, and men. Partha was resplendent in his supreme energy, like the one with the 1,000 eyes, after Vritra had been killed. That chariot roared like a large mass of clouds. Its radiance was like the midday sun in the autumn sky. With its standard and flags, it chattered loudly. It was as radiant as snow, the moon, a conch shell, or a crystal. It was ornamented with gold, pearls, jewels, diamonds, and coral. It possessed the speed of thought, those two supreme among men, Pandava and the slayer of Keshi, were as resplendent as the fire and the sun in that field of battle. You all know who the slayer of Keshi is, right? They roamed around without any fear. Astride the same chariot, they were like Vishnu and Vasava. The one with the ape on his banner created a tumult with the twang of his bowstring, slapping of his palms, and the clatter of his wheels. He destroyed and killed the enemy with his power. With the one with the bird on his banner, with him he showered torrents of arrows on the Kurus. Krishna or Vishnu has a bird, Garuda, on his banner. They held their conch shells, as white as snow, in their hands. These emitted a loud roar and were decorated with golden nets. Their minds filled with delight, they blew loudly on these conch shells, placing those best of conch shells against their lips. Those best of men simultaneously blew on them with the best of mouths. Panchajanya and Devadatta roared. Those are the names of the conch shells, respectively. Well, that's quite dark. Okay. Nearly end of the chapter. At the sound of those conch shells, the forest, the mountains, the rivers, and the directions were terrified, as were the soldiers of your son. However, those two brave ones delighted Yudhisthira. As soon as they heard the loud blare of those conch shells, the Kurus speedily departed. O descendants of the Bharata lineage, they abandoned the lord of Madra and Duryodhana, the lord of the Bharatas. In the great battle, a large number of beings assembled around the radiant Dhananjaya. They joyfully congratulated him and Janardana, each dazzling like a sun. In the battle, having been struck by Karna's arrows, those two scorchers of enemies, Achyuta and Arjuna, looked beautiful. They were like the sparkling moon and sun, garlanded with rays, arising after darkness has been destroyed. Taking out those large numbers of arrows, those valiant lords entered their own camps, surrounded by well-wishers. They were like Vasava and Achyuta, invoked by officiating priests. When Karna was slain in that supreme battle, the gods, the Gandharvas, men, Charanas, Maharishis, Yakshas, and giant serpents honored them greatly and hoped that their victories might continue. It's the end of that chapter.
See Krishna. Amazing.
Yes.
You made it just with the light going down. Incredible. You were running for that. That was a great. You were
Yeah,
you Krishna
it was good
blessed you
fun.
that you could read such a brilliant section. It was great.
Uh-huh.
And I think this is going to be a very short little section to the end of this, till we get to the Shalyapava. So this little bit that I'm going to read. I might read a bit more, but maybe not. Let's just see. I'm going to read this. Okay. Hurry on. So there we are. Chapter 1219, shortly following this incredible encounter with Arjuna and Karna. Sanjaya said, this is episode 69 of 1219. Sanjaya said, when Karna was brought down, your soldiers fled. Dashaha joyfully embraced Partha and said, O Dhananjaya, through your strength, Karna, who was like Vitra, has been killed. Men will talk about the deaths of Karna and Vitra. The infinitely energetic one used the Vajra to slay Vitra in the battle. You have slain Karna with your bow's sharp arrows. Your fame will be renowned in this world and will bring you glory. O Kunteya, go and tell this to the intelligent Dharmaraj. For a long time, this death of Karna in the battle has been desired. You should go and tell this to Dharmaraj and free yourself of the debt. Having thus been addressed by Keshava, bull among the Yadu lineage, Parata agreed. The foremost chariot of the foremost among Rathas was turned back. Govinda spoke these words to Drishtadyumna. Jadumanyu, Madri's sons, Vrikrodana and Yayudhana, remain here and carefully confront the enemy until we have returned, after informing the king that Karna has been killed by Arjuna. Having taken their leave of those brave ones, they departed for the king's abode. With Partha, Govinda saw Yudhisthira. The tiger among kings was lying down on an excellent golden bed. Joyfully, they touched the king's feet. On discerning their joy and the superhuman marks of wounds, Yudhisthira deduced that Radheya must have been killed and arose. Vasudeva, the descendant of the Yadu lineage, pleasant in speech, told him everything about Karna's death. Joining his hands in salutation, Achyuta Krishna smiled a little and told Yudhisthira that his enemy had been killed. O king, it is through good fortune that the wielder of Gandiva, Pandava Vikrodra, you and the Pandavas who are the sons of Madri are safe. You have been freed from the battle that led to a destruction of heroes and made the body hair stand up. O king, quickly undertake whatever task must be done next. The cruel and immensely strong Vaikartana, son of Asuta, has been slain. O Indra among kings, it is through good fortune you have obtained victory. O Pandava, you are prospering through good fortune. The worst among men laughed at Krishna when she had been won in the gambling match, Draupadi. The earth is now drinking the blood of that son of Asuta. O bull among the Kuru lineage, with arrows mangling his limbs, that enemy of yours is now lying down. O tiger among men, look at him. He has been shattered by many arrows. Delighted, Yudhisthira honored Dashara back in return. O Indra among kings, he joyfully said, this is good fortune. It is fortunate, O mighty armed one, O Devaki's son. This is all because of you. With you as a charioteer, Partha was able to exhibit this manliness today. The best of the Kuru lineage grasped his right hand adorned with a bracelet and addressed both Partha, Arjuna, the upholder of Dharma, and Keshava. Narada had said that you were the gods, Nara and Narayan. You are the ancient and supreme men, uniting in establishing Dharma. The revered and intelligent Krishna, Dwapayana, also told me this. O mighty armed ones, the Lord told me about that divine account. O Krishna, it is because of your powers that Dhananjaya confronted his enemies when Gandiva and defeated them, not retreating before any of them. Our victory is certain, and their defeat is certain. After all, when Partha fights in the battle, you have agreed to be his charioteer. O great king, having spoken these words, the Mahabharata ascended his golden decorated chariot, which was yoked to horses with the complexion of ivory with black tails. The tiger among men was surrounded by his own soldiers. The brave Krishna and Arjuna cheerfully followed him. Surrounded by many and conversing pleasantly with the brave and resplendent Madhava and Palguna, he went to see the field of battle. He saw Karna, bull among men, lying down in the battle. Arrows released from Gandiva had splintered all over his body. King Yudhisthira saw that Karna had been slain together with his son. He praised those two tigers among men, Madhava and Pandava, and said, O Govinda, today with my brothers I have become the king of the earth. This is because you are our protector, and we are sheltered by your bravery and your learning. On seeing that the proud Radheya, tiger of men, on seeing that the proud Radheya, tiger among men, has been slain, Dhritarashtra's evil-souled son will lose all hope today, both about remaining alive and about the kingdom. Mahabharata Kana has been killed. O bull among men, it is because of your favors that we are successful. O descendant of the Yadu lineage, you've ensured that the will of Gandiva is found victorious. O Govinda, it is through good fortune that you have been victorious. It is through good fortune that Kana has been brought down. O Indra among kings, delighted, Dharmaraj Yudhisthira praised Janardana and also Arjuna in many ways. The joy of the kings and the Maharatas also increased. O great king, when the descendant of the Suta lineage was killed, Nakula, Sahadev, Pandava Kikroda, Satyaki, the foremost Ratas among the Vrishnis, Drishtadyumna, Shikandi, the Pandus, Panchalas, and the Strinjayas honored Kunteya. They increased the desire of King Yudhisthira, Pandu's son, for victory. Those strikers delighted in fighting and wished to accomplish their objective. With eloquent words, they praised and honored the two Krishnas, the scorchers of enemies. Then, filled with great delight, the Maharatas left for their respective camps. In this way, there was a great destruction, and it made the body hairs stand up. O king, all of this was the consequence of your evil counsel. Why are you grieving? Ooh. Vaishampayana said, O king, on hearing the unpleasant news, Dhritarashtra, the lord of the earth, fell down unconscious on the ground. Kauravya was overcome by supreme distress. Queen Gandhari, who was devoted to the truth and knew about Dharma, also fell down. Vidura and Sanjaya raised the king and comforted the monarch. The woman of the king's household raised Gandhari. Comforted by them, the king regained his senses, but was silent. This ends the Karna Parva. It continues. Shalya Parva continues with the account of the war. After Karna's death, Shalya is instated as the commander of the Kauravya army. Shalya is the commander for a single day, day 18, in the 18 Parva classification. Shalya Parva is the 9th. In the 100-page Parva classification, this Parva constitutes sections 74 to 77. Shalya Parva has 64 chapters. In the numbering of the chapters in this Parva, the first number is a consecutive one, starting with the beginning of the Mahabharata, and the second number within brackets is the numbering of the chapter within Shalya Parva. Shalya Vada Parva, this Parva has 844 shlokas and 16 chapters. Vadha means killing, and the section is named after the killing of Shalya. Shalya is appointed the supreme commander of the Kauravya army. Nakula kills Karna's sons. Duryodhana kills Chikitana, the prince of Chedi. Ashvatthama kills Surata of Panchala. Yudhisthira kills Shalya and Shalya's younger brother. But Dina, do you want to carry on? I just read that, but I think do you want to carry on?
Can do.
Yeah.
So I'll take that's the start then of the Shalya Parva now.
But wait a minute, Dina.
Huh?
Dina.
Yeah.
You know, you want to read the last bit from Ganguli that was missing there?
Oh, that'd be interesting.
It's a little complex because I have to go into the index and find it again now. I've already turned on to the beginning of the Shalya Parva.
All right.
I mean, do you want to read it, madam?
I'll read it quickly. It's only a little bit.
Yeah. Just
Just hang on there, Dean. Stay there.
I'm intrigued. I didn't know, and this is fantastic, isn't it? Wow. Anyway,
so remember, comforted by them, he remained silent, indulging his melancholy.
Put the video on. Put your video on. Just temporary.
Yeah. Okay. Then, so he that reads of this great battle which is like unto a sacrifice.
Where's your video? Sorry.
Oh.
Exactly.
So he that reads of this great battle, which is like unto a sacrifice, between the high-souled Dhananjaya and Adhirata's son, so also he that hears the account of this battle read, both obtain, O Bharata, the fruit of a great sacrifice duly performed. The learned say that the holy and the eternal Vishnu is sacrifice, and each of those other gods, viz. Agni, wind, Soma, and Surya, is so. Therefore he that will, without malice, hear or recite this parva will be happy and capable of attaining to every region of bliss. Filled with devotion, men always read this sacred and first of Samhitas. They that do rejoice, obtaining wealth and grain and fame. A man must therefore ever hear it without malice. He that does so will obtain all kinds of happiness with that foremost of persons, Vishnu, the illustrious self-born, and Bhava also become pleased. A Brahmana, by reading it, would obtain the fruit of having studied the Vedas. A Kshatriya obtains strength and victory in battle. Vaishyas would obtain immense wealth, and Sudras would obtain health and freedom from disease. Then again, the illustrious Vishnu is eternal, and since it is that God who hath been glorified in this parva, it is for this that the man reading or hearing it becometh happy and acquireth all the objects of his heart. These words of the great Rishi Vyasa can never be untrue. The merit that may be attained by listening to the recitation of the Karna Parva is equal to his who giveth away unceasingly for a whole year good cows with calves. There you go. So they cut that out in the Debroy's one. And so I'll let you carry on, Dina.
Thank you. That was like the false shruti.
Yeah.
False stuti. So we're beginning a new chapter here now. So invoke the blessings. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om. Having bowed down unto Narayan and Nara, the most exalted of male beings, and the goddess Saraswati, must the word Jaya be uttered. Janamejaya said, after Karna had thus been slain in battle by Sabyasachi, what did the small, unslaughtered remnant of the Kauravas do, O regenerate one? Beholding the army of the Pandavas swelling with might and energy, what behavior did the Kuru prince, Suryodhana, adopt towards the Pandavas, thinking it suitable to the hour? I desire to hear all this. Tell me, O foremost of regenerate ones. I am never satiated with listening to the grand feats of my ancestors. Vaishampayana said, after the fall of Karna, O king, Dhritarashtra's son, Suryodhana, was plunged deep into an ocean of grief and saw despair on every side, indulging in incessant lamentation, saying, oh, alas, oh, Karna, alas, oh, Karna. He proceeded with great difficulty to his camp, accompanied by the unslaughtered remnant of the kings on his side. Thinking of the slaughter of the Suta's son, he could not obtain peace of mind, though comforted by those kings with excellent reasons inculcated by the scriptures. Regarding destiny and necessity to be all-powerful, the Kuru king firmly resolved on battle. Having duly made Shalya the generalissimo of these forces, that bull among kings, O monarch, proceeded for battle, accompanied by that unslaughtered remnant of his forces. Then, O chief of Bharat's race, a terrible battle took place between the troops of the Kurus and those of the Pandavas, resembling that between the gods and the Asuras. Then Shalya, O monarch, having made a great carnage in battle, at last lost a large number of his troops and was slain by Yudhisthira at midday. Then King Duryodhana, having lost all his friends and kinsmen, fled away from the field of battle and penetrated into the depths of a terrible lake from fear of his enemies. On the afternoon of that day, Bhimashen, causing the lake to be encompassed by many mighty car warriors, summoned Duryodhana, and having obliged him to come out, slew him speedily, putting forth his strength. After Duryodhana's slaughter, the 3 car warriors of the Kuru side that were still unslain, Ashwatthama and Kripa and Kritivarma, filled with rage, O monarch, slaughtered the Panchala troops in the night. On the next morning, Sanjaya, having set out from the camp, entered the city, the Kuru capital, cheerless and filled with grief and sorrow. Having entered the city, the Suta, Sanjaya, raising his arms in grief and with limbs trembling, entered the palace of the king. Filled with grief, O tiger among men, he wept loudly, saying, "Alas, O king, alas, all of us were ruined by the slaughter of that high-souled monarch. Alas, time is all-powerful and crooked in his course, since all our allies, endued with might equal to that of Shakra himself, have been slain by the Pandavas." Seeing Sanjaya come back to the city, O king, in that distressful plight, all the people, O best of kings, filled with great anxiety, wept loudly, alas, saying, "O king, O king!" The whole city, O tiger among men, including the very children, hearing of Duryodhana's death, sent forth notes of lamentation from every side. We then beheld all the men and women running about, deeply afflicted with grief, their senses gone, and resembling people that are demented. The Suta Sanjaya then, deeply agitated, entered the abode of the king and beheld that foremost of monarchs, that lord of men, having wisdom for his eyes. Beholding the sinless monarch, that chief of Bharat's race, seated, surrounded by his daughters-in-law and Gandhari and Vidura, and by other friends and kinsmen that were always his well-wishers and engaged in thinking on that very subject, the death of Karna, the Suta Sanjaya, with heart filled with grief, O Janamanjaya, weepingly and in a voice choked with tears, said unto him, "I am Sanjaya, O tiger among men. I bow to thee, O bull of Bharat's race. The ruler of the Madras, Shalya, hath been slain. Similarly, Subala's sons Shakuni and Ulaka, O tiger among men, that valiant son of the gamester, Shakuni, have all been slain. All the Samstapakas, the Kambojas, together with the Shakas, the Malechas, the Mountaineers, and the Yavanas, have also been slain. The Easterners have been slain, O monarch, and all the Southerners. The Northerners have all been slain, as also the Westerners, O ruler of men. All the kings and all the princes have been slain, O monarch. King Duryodhana also has been slain by the son of Pandu after the manner he had vowed. With his thighs broken, O monarch, he lieth now on the dust covered with blood. Drishtajumna also have been slain. O king, as also the vanquished Sikandi, Utamajo, and Yudamanyu, O king, and the Prabhadrakas, and those tiger among men, the Panchalas and the Chedis, have been destroyed. The sons have all been slain, as also the 5 sons of Draupadi, O Bharat. The heroic, mighty son of Karna, Vrishashena, have been slain. All the men that have been assembled have been slain. All the elephants have been destroyed. All the car warriors, O tiger among men, and all the steeds have fallen in battle. Very few are alive on thy side, O Lord. In consequence of the Pandavas and the Kauravas having encountered each other, the world, stupefied by time, now consists of only women. On the side of the Pandavas, 7 are alive. They are the 5 Pandava brothers and Vasudeva and Satyaki. And amongst the Dhartarashtra's 3 are so, Kripa, Kritavarma, and Drona's son, that foremost of victors. These 3 car warriors, O monarch, are all that survive. O best of kings, of all the Akshahonis mustered on their side, O ruler of men, these are the survivors, O monarch. The rest have perished. Making Duryodhana and his hostility towards the Pandavas the cause, the world, it seems, have been destroyed, O bull of Bharat's race, by time. Vaishampayana continued. Hearing these cruel words, Dhritarashtra, that ruler of men, fell down, O monarch, on the earth, deprived of his senses. As soon as the king fell down, Vidura also, of great fame, O monarch, afflicted with sorrow on account of the king's distress, fell down on the earth. Gandhari also, O best of kings, and all the Kuru ladies, suddenly fell down on the ground, hearing those cruel words. That entire conclave of royal persons remained lying on the ground, deprived of their senses, and raving deliriously like figures painted on a large piece of canvas. Then King Dhritarashtra, that lord of earth, afflicted with the calamity represented by the death of his sons, slowly and with difficulty regained his life breaths. Having recovered his senses, the king, with trembling limbs and sorrowful heart, turned his face on every side and said these words unto Kshatri Vidura. O learned Kshatri, O thou of great wisdom, thou, O bull of Bharat's race, are now my refuge. I am lordless and destitute of all my sons. Having said this, he once more fell down, deprived of his senses. Beholding him fallen, all his kinsmen that were present there sprinkled cold water over him and fanned him with fans. Comforted, after a long while, that lord of earth, afflicted with sorrow on account of the death of his sons, remained silent, sighing heavily, O monarch, like a snake put into a jar. Sanjaya also wept aloud, beholding the king so afflicted. All the ladies, too, with Gandhari of great celebrity, did the same. After a long while, O best of men, Dhritarashtra, having repeatedly swooned, addressed Vidura, saying, Let all the ladies retire, as also Gandhari of great fame, and all these friends. My mind hath become greatly unsettled. Thus addressed, Vidura, repeatedly trembling, slowly dismissed the ladies, O bull of Bharat's race. All those ladies retired, O chief of Bharats, as also all those friends, beholding the king deeply afflicted. Then Sanjaya, cheerlessly looking at the king, O scorcher of foes, who, having recovered his senses, was weeping in great affliction. With joined hands, Vidura then, in sweet words, comforted that ruler of men who was sighing incessantly. Section 2 of the Shalya Parava. Vaishampayana said, after the ladies had been dismissed, Dhritarashtra, the son of Ambika, plunged into grief greater than that which had afflicted him before, began, O monarch, to indulge in lamentations, exhaling breaths that resembled smoke, and repeatedly waving his arms and reflecting a little, O monarch, he said these words. Dhritarashtra said, alas, O Suta, the intelligence is fraught with grief that I hear from thee, that the Pandavas are all safe and suffered no loss in battle. Without doubt, my hard heart is made of the essence of thunder, since it breaketh not upon hearing of the fall of my sons. Thinking of their ages, O Sanjaya, and of their sports in childhood, and learning today that all of them have perished, my heart seems to break into pieces. Although in consequence of my blindness I never saw their forms, still I cherished a great love for them, in consequence of the affection one feels for his children. Hearing that they have passed out of childhood and entered the period of youth, and then of early manhood, I became exceedingly glad, O sinless one. Hearing today that have been slain and divested of prosperity and energy, I failed to obtain peace of mind, being overwhelmed with grief on the account of distress that has overtaken them. Come, come, O kings, Duryodhana, to me, that am without a protector now, deprived of thee, O mighty armed one, what will be my plight? Why, O sire, abandoning all the assembled kings, dost thou lie on the bare ground, deprived of life like an ordinary and wretched king? Having been, O monarch, the refuge of kinsmen and friends, where dost thou go now? O hero, abandoning me, that am blind and old. Where now, O king, is that compassion of thine, that love and that respectfulness? Invincible as thou wert in battle, how, alas, hast thou been slain by the Paratas? Who will now, after I have been waked up from sleep at the proper hour, repeatedly address me in such endearing and respectful words as, O father, O king, O great king, O lord of the world, and affectionately clasping my neck with moistened eyes, will seek my orders, saying, command me, O thou of Kuru's race. Address me, O son, in that sweet language once more. O dear child, I heard even these words from thy lips. This wide earth is as much ours as it is of Prita's son. Bhagadatta and Kripa, and Shalya, and the two princes of Avanti and Jayadratha, and Burishrava and Sala, and Somadatta and Balika, and Ashwatthama, and the chief of the Bhojas, and the mighty prince of Magd, and Brihadvala, and the ruler of Kashi and Shakuni, the son of Subal, and many thousands of Malechas and Sakas and Yavanas, and Sudakshin, the ruler of the Kambojas, and the king of the Trigatas, and the grandsire Bhishma and Bharadwaja's son, and Gautama's son Kripa, and Shrutayush, and Ayutayush, and Satayush of great energy, and Jalasandha, and Rishya Shringa's son, and the Rakshasha Alayuda, and the mighty armed Alambusha, and the great car warrior Subala. These and numerous other kings, O best of monarchs, have taken up arms for my sake, prepared to cast away their very lives in great battle, stationed on the field amidst these and surrounded by my brothers. I will fight against all the Partas and the Panchalas and the Chedis, O tiger among kings, and the sons of Draupadi and Satyaki and Kuntiboja, and the Rakshasha, Gotakuch. Even one amongst these, O king, excited with rage, is able to resist in battle the Pandavas rushing towards him. What need I say then of all these heroes, every one of whom has wronged to avenge on the Pandavas when united together? All these, O monarch, will fight with the followers of the Pandavas and will slay them in battle. Karna alone, with myself, will slay the Pandavas. All the heroic kings will then live under my sway. He, who is their leader, the mighty Vasudeva, will not, he has told me, put on mail for them. O king, even in this way, O Suta, did Duryodhana often used to speak to me. Hearing what he said, I believed that the Pandavas would be slain in battle. When, however, my sons stationed in the midst of those heroes and exerting themselves vigorously in battle have all been slain, what can it be but destiny? When that lord of the world, that valiant Bhishma, having encountered Shikandi, met with his death like a lion meeting with his at the hands of a jackal, what can it be but destiny? When the Brahmana, Drona, that master of all weapons, offensive and defensive, has been slain by the Pandavas in battle, what can it be but destiny? When Bhurishrava, who has been slain in battle, has also Somadatta and King Bahilaka, what can it be but destiny? When Bhagadatta, skilled in fight from the backs of elephants, has been slain, and when Jayadratha hath been slain, what can it be but destiny? When Sudakshina has been slain, and Jalasandha of Puru's race, as also Shrutayush and Ayutush, what can it be but destiny? When the mighty Pandya, that foremost of the wielders of weapons, has been slain in battle by the Pandavas, what can it be but destiny? When Vrihadvala has been slain and the mighty king of the Magadhas, and the valiant Ugrayudha, that type of all bowmen, when the two princes of Avanti, Vinda and Anuvinda, have been slain, and the ruler of the Trigatas, as also numerous Samstapakas, what can it be but destiny? When King Alambush and the Rakshasas, Alayud and Rishya Shringha's son, have been slain, what can it be but destiny? When the Narayanas have been slain, as also the Gopalas, those troops that were invincible in battle, and many thousands of Malechas, what can it be but destiny? When Shakuni, the son of Subal, and the mighty Ullaka, called the gamester's son, that hero at the head of his forces, have been slain, what can it be but destiny? When innumerable high-souled heroes, accomplished in all kinds of weapons, offensive and defensive, and endued with prowess equal to that of Shakra himself, have been slain, O Suta. When Kshatriyas hailing from diverse realms, O Sanjaya, have all been slain, what can it be but destiny? Endued with great might, my sons and grandsons have been slain, as also my friends and brethren. What can it be but destiny? Without doubt, man takes his birth, subject to destiny. That man who is possessed of good fortune meets with good. I am bereft of good fortune, and therefore I am deprived of my children, O Sanjaya. Old as I am, how shall I now submit to the sway of enemies? I do not think anything other than exile into the woods to be good for me. O Lord, deprived of relatives and kinsmen as I am, I will go into the woods. Nothing other than an exile into the woods can be better for me, who am fallen into this plight, and who am shorn of my wings, O Sanjaya. When Duryodhana had been slain, when Shalya had been slain, when Dushashana and Vivingatsati and the mighty Vikarna have been slain, how shall I be able to bear the roars of that Bhimashen, who hath alone slain 100 sons of mine in battle? He will frequently speak of the slaughter of Duryodhana in my hearing. Burning with grief and sorrow, I shall not be able to bear his cruel words. Vaishambhayana continued. Even thus, that king, burning with grief and deprived of relatives and kinsmen, repeatedly swooned, overwhelmed with sorrow on account of the death of his sons. Having wept for a long while, Dhritarashtra, the son of Ambika, breathed heavy and hot sighs at the thought of his defeat. Overwhelmed with sorrow and burning with grief, that bull of Bharat's race once more inquired of his charioteer Sanjaya, the son of Gavalgana, the details of what had happened. Dhritarashtra said, after Bhishma and Drona had been slain, and the Suta's son also overthrown, whom did my warriors make their generalissimo? The Pandavas are slaying without any delay. Everyone whom my warriors are able are making their generalissimo in battle. Bhishma was slain at the van of battle by the Dayam-decked Arjuna, in the very sight of you all. Even thus was Drona slain in the sight of you all. Even thus was the Suta's son, that valiant Karna, slain by Arjuna in the sight of all the kings. Long before, the high-souled Vidura had told me that through the fault of Duryodhana, the population of the earth would be exterminated. There are some fools that do not see things, even though they cast their eyes on them. Those words of Vidura have been even so unto my foolish self. What Vidura of righteous soul, conversant with attributes of everything, then said, hath turned out exactly, for the words he uttered were nothing but the truth. Afflicted by fate, I did not then act according to those words. The fruits of that evil course have now manifested themselves. Describe them to me, O son of Gavalgana, once more. Who became the head of our army after Karna's fall? Who was that car warrior who proceeded against Arjuna and Vasudeva? Who were they that protected the right wheel of the ruler of the Madras in battle? Who protected the left wheel of that hero when he went to battle? Who also guarded his rear? How, when all of you were together, could the mighty king of Madras, as also my son, be slain, O Sanjaya, by the Pandavas? Tell me the details of the great destruction of the Bharatas. Tell me how my son Duryodhana fell in battle. Tell me how all the Panchalas with their followers and Drishtajumna and Shikandi and the 5 sons of Draupadi fell. Tell me how the 5 Pandavas and the 2 Sattvatas, Krishna and Satyaki, and Kripa and Kritavarma and Drona's son have escaped with life. I desire to hear everything about the manner in which the battle occurred and the kind of battle it was. Thou art skilled, O Sanjaya, in narration. Tell me everything. Hari Om Tat Sat.
Marvelous. Let's leave it there then, shall we? Because
I
now
think so.
the main narrative begins. That was all introductory.
Yeah. Hari Bol.
Matura, you can stop the recording if you like, Matura. Oh, Madhava came back. Oh no. Yeah. Now where are you, Madhava?